Okay, let's face it. If you're a professional or running your own business, you know you have to be on social media. But being honest, creating all that content can seriously feel like a second full-time job, right? It pulls you away from the work that actually moves the needle. Today, we're going to look at a tool that claims it can solve that exact problem.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get into what's called the creator's dilemma. I think you'll relate to this one. Then we'll introduce Ryza Content and see how it actually works. We'll explore who it's for, what kind of results you can expect for your brand, and we'll wrap up with their big idea, conscious creation.
All right, let's kick things off with a struggle that is, well, pretty much universal. It's that constant nagging pressure to be creating fresh, engaging content. And it doesn't matter if you're a one-person show or a huge marketing team.
I want you to really think about this for a second. Does it feel like a second job? You know, the one you never actually signed up for? The one that creeps into your nights and weekends and pulls your focus from what you're supposed to be doing? For so many of us, the answer is a huge, resounding yes.
And you know, these frustrations aren't just feelings. They have real-world consequences. When you post inconsistently, your brand kind of fades into the background. You sink hours into making posts that could have been spent on strategy or talking to customers. And maybe the worst part, after all that effort, the content sometimes sounds a little off. It doesn't sound like you. And don't even get me started on trying to turn a dense research paper into a few catchy posts. It's a slow process that can literally delay launches and hold back revenue.
So now that we've really defined the problem, let's pivot and talk about the solution, Ryza Content. This is Ryza's entire mission, and it's so beautifully simple. First, you ideate. It helps you brainstorm creative, genuinely interesting ideas. Next, you automate. It does the heavy lifting, creating the posts and graphics for you. And finally, you elevate. The result is polished, professional content that actually strengthens your brand.
Okay, now this is the crucial part. Ryza isn't just another AI writer that spits out generic text. They position it as an AI collaborator. And notice the key phrases here, on brand and without sacrificing voice, clarity, or credibility. The whole point is to make content creation faster, sure, but not at the cost of making it sound generic. It's about holding on to your unique expertise and your authentic voice, just in a much more efficient way.
All right, so that all sounds great in theory, but how does this thing actually work? Let's break down the process, which you'll see is designed to be incredibly simple.
It really boils down to 3 easy steps. First, you give it your input. This is your raw material. It could be a simple theme, a complicated PDF, or even just an image. Then, Ryza does its magic and generates the assets for you. We're talking full-text posts, newsletters, infographics, all designed to sound like you. And the final step, which is so important, is to refine and publish. You're always in the driver's seat. You get the final say before anything ever goes public.
Now, a tool like this isn't going to be a one-size-fits-all deal. So let's take a closer look at who exactly Ryza is built for.
What's so smart about this is how it's clearly laid out for different needs. For the individual creator, it's all about building that solid professional presence on LinkedIn, maybe 1 post a day. For the influencer, things scale up. We're talking multiple channels, way more posts, and really cool features like voice training and custom branding. And then for businesses, it transforms into a serious revenue tool, creating sales materials and even giving you performance dashboards.
Okay, features are great, but what does all of this actually mean for your brand? Let's move past what the tool does and talk about the impact you can really expect. See, once you solve that content creation bottleneck, you start to see real, tangible business results. More consistent posting leads to better campaign performance, it just does. Creating content faster means you can launch your products and campaigns way sooner, and it all leads to the things every business wants: more qualified leads, a stronger reputation, and just being more visible in your market.
I have to stop and point this one feature out, especially for the business tier, because it's a total game changer. Ryza doesn't just help you create content, it actively helps you find your audience. It identifies 10 ideal customer profiles, or ICPs, for you every single week. This is huge. It bridges that gap between just shouting into the void and actually having targeted sales conversations.
And finally, let's talk about the philosophy here. Because Ryza seems to be promoting an idea that's bigger than just automation. It's about being more intentional with your content.
This is their core mission, and it all comes down to this one phrase: create content consciously. The goal isn't just to flood social media with a bunch of AI-generated fluff. It's about partnering with technology to create meaningful, on-brand content that actually helps your audience and your business
without burning you out in the process.
Of course, anytime you talk about AI, big questions about ownership and privacy pop up. And it looks like Ryza addresses these concerns head-on. They have controls to protect your unique brand voice. You own 100% of everything you generate. Nothing you create is ever stored on their servers, and you always maintain full control of your social media accounts.
Now, for anyone who's thinking this sounds interesting, this next part is pretty important. They're offering special founder-member pricing right now, but it's a limited-time thing. These rates are gone after December 31st, 2025. So if this feels like a good fit, it's definitely something you might want to act on sooner rather than later.
So, we'll end with this thought. What if that thing that currently feels like your biggest headache, that constant demand for more content, what if you could flip the script? What if it could become your brand's greatest strategic advantage? That's the potential we've been exploring today.